I just wanted to come and say that I fear that we're losing the plot. We're losing the plot. The United States Department of Education just announced that they're launching a portal. They're launching a portal to report any DEI initiatives that are still happening at any public schools. Let me tell you why I think we're losing the plot. We're losing the plot because the threat was that if schools do not disengage with DEI programs, that they would take federal funding away from the school. So before all the races get to being too racist, do you understand that if you report it, they're going to take away funding from your child's school? If you report, if you report, I know, just ignore them. If you report that you are taking, or that there's DEI initiatives still happening at your child's school, they're going to take away federal funding from your child's school. You can't make this up. You can't. The U.S. Department of Education under Trump's administration has launched a new online portal called End DEI, encouraging parents, students, and teachers and community members to report instances of DEI efforts in public schools K through 12. Announced on February 27, 2025, the initiative aligns with President Trump's broader push to eliminate DEI programs, which his administration views as discriminatory. The portal is accessible at ndei.gov, allows users to submit reports of alleged race-based or sex-based discrimination within the department, with the department promising to use these submissions to guide a statement from Tiffany Justice of Moms for Liberty, a conversation group supporting the move, but notably lacked input from the Department of Education leadership. What would make you, if you have sense, which a lot of these people don't, it's not lost upon me that the people who are so anti-DEI are not in their right state of mind. Like, I'm not delusional. I'm here. I get it. But reporting that your child's school is still having DEI initiatives to take money out of your own child's education is diabolical. Diabolical. Do y'all understand that federal funding that goes to schools is for supplies for teachers, supplies for kids, salaries for teachers, and for children with disabilities? That is how the federal funding is distributed amongst schools. So you're so upset about people not being racist that you're willing to take money out of your own child's education. You're willing, and what's crazy, if a teacher reports it, you're insane. Teachers don't even get paid enough. They get paid pennies. And they're going to cut federal funding that pays teachers. What do you think? That means little Timmy's about to be in a class with 50 kids and one teacher. Because the federal funding that the public schools get to pay teachers is going to get cut because you reported a DEI initiative. That means that if little Timmy has an IEP or a disability, those little accommodations little Timmy was getting, clipped. Dunzo. Are y'all hearing me? That means them Chromebooks and textbooks, y'all think they raggedy now? They gonna be looking at the wall. They gonna be looking at the wall. What would make somebody do that? What would make, and honestly, and I know what's going to happen. There's a bunch of parents who are going to start reporting DEI initiatives the minute their child comes home and says, they're celebrating Black History Month. Like, that's inevitable. And let me just say this too. There's a misunderstanding about what DEI is, right? Because people have convinced themselves that DEI is a favor to help Black people and people of color. When in fact, DEI initiatives would say that if you get rid of curriculum that highlights Black folks in a positive light, then you should get rid of curriculum that highlights white folks in a positive light. So what happens when people start reporting that the curriculum is looking mighty white and doesn't include anyone else? Wouldn't that go against DEI? Wouldn't that be something to report? Because at this point, you got rid of the black curriculum. Why? But you kept the white curriculum. How do you explain that? Do y'all understand what equity means? Equity means that everyone gets what they need, even if it was equality. It means everyone gets the same thing. So how do you explain then history being white facing all over again? It has always been that, but people have gone out of their way to create culturally competent and relevant pedagogy and practices and curricula. So to now say that you're going to take away, you want them to take away culturally competent curricula, how do you then explain? And they said because it's discriminatory. So they're saying that these DEI initiatives are discriminatory. If they're discriminatory, how do you now explain white people still being represented in curricula? Like how do you even define what is actually a DEI initiative and what's not? Is that not like how do you measure whether or not something is actually a DEI initiative? Like what's the measurement? What is the criteria? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because and to be honest, again, you would be a goddamn fool to make that report. Because the only person that you're hurting making that report is your child and the other children at your child's school. You report the school, they withhold federal funding, now your child don't have no supplies. If a teacher reports it, they report the school, they take away federal funding, whose job do you think is on the line? Where do you think your salary comes from? Federal funding. Like, I just want us to think about this. I really do. And they want kids to report it. Kids who can't even define DEI. Hold on a second, y'all. Yes.
I looked it up online, so what time to change up.
Sorry, y'all. Y'all raggedy nephew. Yeah, they're asking kids to make reports about DEI initiatives still happening at their schools. How does that make sense? I don't. It really doesn't make sense. And when the funding really stops coming in, and when no, you're good. And when people really aren't getting what they need, and this is why continuous professional development matters. This is why professional development is important. Because if you don't have professional development, then people don't understand that they're doing themselves a disservice. Because there are teachers who are going to report it. There are teachers who are going to make reports to the government about DEI initiatives at their own expense. And when schools, and this is why schools need to do professional development on what this means for their schools. You need to be telling teachers. They also need to do workshops for families because it's about to get real racist. It's about to get real racist. And that's what they want. But I just don't, I never understand who you're actually trying to hurt. When you go against these DEI initiatives and you make a case that these DEI initiatives are wrong, who do you think you're going to hurt? You're not hurting anyone but your own kids. You would be willing to you want your kid to have a worse off education because you don't want DEI. Okay. I really want people to think about it because I can see in my mind all the Trump thumpers standing behind computers ready to be racist and write the report about DEI initiatives happening at their child's school because somebody's still teaching about Black History Month or whatever it is. Because the truth of the matter is, there aren't many real DEI initiatives that happen at public schools because public schools really don't face the same. The truth of the matter is that many public schools are for the people in the community. So 9 times out of 10, because anyone can go there, they're catering to the community that they serve. Like, and I'm telling you, all of these Trump thumpers who are literally people who are uneducated in the backwoods of West Virginia and Texas, they are going to screw themselves over because little Timmy and little Susie with that IEP are going to get no more supports. That occupational therapy and that speech therapy that's going on, no more support. That mandated counseling that little Timmy and Susie get at school from the social worker that you put on a IEP because they don't want to live or they're harming themselves or others, that's gone. That's gone. And you know what's even crazier is that it's going to make schools even more unsafe. You know why I say that? Because we already see that schools have become the playground for mass firearm usage. Read between the lines. And now you're taking, if they take away funding, federal funding, and students who have IEPs get counseling, and let's say they did have ideation to any extent, whether to harm themselves or others, there's not going to be a counselor to support that. If teachers think they are ready to counselors and everything else, just wait until you report in that portal that there's a DEI initiative happening at a school, and now there's no counselor at your school. You thought you were the counselor. You thought you were the counselor. There will be no counselor. Because where do you think that funding comes from? Okay. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And now no food at school. It is going to be a ripple effect. And the thing is, what sucks about this is that it is going to take people seeing it for them to understand it. Like they're not going to get it. And what's even worse about that is that people who are not in support of this or are not being divisive are also going to get caught in the crossfire. That's what really sucks. And at the end of the day, the bottom line is that kids are going to suffer because people are not educated enough or don't seek to educate themselves on what's really going on in the world. So because they are not going out of their way to understand what it means when you report the DEI initiative at the school, because you don't understand what federal funding actually does for schools, because you don't actually go out of your way to hear anything besides the racist rhetoric that they're pushing, which is that white people, specifically white men, are being discriminated against, because you don't go out of your way to understand or interpret actual policy and practices, because you don't want to spend time unearthing anything, but you hear racist rhetoric and want to believe that this is going to put you at an advantage, and want to believe that what they're saying is that white folks are now going to have an advantage over other folks, and that black folks are not going to continue to be successful. But I have a news flash for you. Black folks had to do it even when there was no DEI or culturally responsive curricula. We have always had to do it. We had to do it when they taught us that Christopher Columbus found America. We had to do it when they talked about the founding fathers that didn't found nothing. We've been doing it. So really, what you're doing is other marginalized groups, which y'all also belong to, are now, and this is the same thing. This has all been a play on people who don't have the ability to understand what is happening. From SNAP because what's happening is they don't think that these people are talking about them, which is crazy. I'm talking, there's people who are actually receiving SNAP in the backwoods of West Virginia, and Medicaid is the only access to healthcare they have. But they're listening to the people on the government, and they're thinking, oh, they're talking about black people. And the hate for black people and marginalized groups is so strong that they're willing to go against their own need. They are willing to go against themselves in order to push an agenda of racism. I can't. It's unimaginable. And the thing is that the way that they roll out these initiatives, specifically this new Department of Education initiative, where they want people to report DEI initiatives, they use big catchphrases and buzzwords. What they don't tell you, hey friend, what they don't tell you when they are rolling it out is that if you make a report about a DEI initiative still happening at your child's school, that we will take away your federal funding. If we take away your federal funding, here is how your child's school will be impacted. They're not telling people about how budgets work at schools. People are there's this unrealistic, and I'm saying this as someone who is sat in a leadership seat at a school. There is no budget line for DEI. The federal funding they want to take back is kids with disabilities. They're telling you that if y'all don't stop, we're going to take away the salary from teachers in the classroom. They're telling you that you're not going to have a Chromebook, a textbook, or nothing to do your homework with. Like and this is what I'm saying. It's divisive because all people see is the headline. They use these headlines to captivate a certain group of people. They know that group of people doesn't have the intellectual ability to look into anything or think anything through. They legitimately know that they're living in the backwoods of West Virginia. It's been clear that he said that his supporters are uneducated and basement dwellers. That much we know. So he's aware of this. So what they do is they know that that group is enough of a group to push these negative things, that all of these negative initiatives that they're trying to sell to people. And then once those people vote in favor on it or decide to do the thing that he's asking them to do, they later come down the line. It was the same thing when he was president first time. It's the same thing now when people are coming out and saying, I voted for Trump, but I worked for the government. I voted for Trump, but I worked for whatever. I voted for Trump, but my family member is deported. It's the same thing. It's not a new game. It's the same game. They're going to, at that point, realize they messed up and be like, oh, I voted for him because he said he was going to get rid of DEI. No, what he said is if schools don't stop doing DEI initiatives, that he's going to take funding. The funding that he's taking is federal funding. The federal funding pays for children with disabilities support, for teacher salaries, and for school supplies. Just a few. He cannot promise to get rid of DEI because that doesn't make sense. There's no people hear DEI and associate black people. That's what they think. People hear DEI and go, oh, the blacks. Oh, it's the blacks. It's them. So we don't want to support them. When realistically, that is not even the close. If that was what it was, don't y'all think that there would be more black people in leadership seats? Yeah, hold on 1 second, y'all.
Eden is down a block. I'm about to meet him out of the train. We're going to hit the train because he's taking too long.
Sorry, y'all. Um, there's 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 these people are being tricked by their president, and the thing is like this is what happens when hate wins. This is what happens when hate is more of a driving factor for people than actually thinking things through. You know what I'm saying? And oh, sorry, what I was saying was DEI initiatives. People hear DEI and think black. DEI is the furthest thing from that, and that's how I know. And again, like this is what I was saying. If DEI was specifically for black people, then wouldn't more black people be in positions of power? I said this before in my live. Fortune 500 CEOs, only 1.4% of Fortune 500 CEOs are made up of black people. Majority of the positions, senior level positions at big organizations in America are occupied by white men. If DEI was a leg up, and this is what's sending me, is like it honestly, the truth is that white women have benefited the most from all DEI initiatives. There's that. Second of all, it feels like what's being said indirectly, because y'all got to catch the message on the low. What's being said indirectly is that white men shouldn't have to work this hard. We need to get back to a place where white men only have to do the bare minimum. And everybody should give us all the things. We need to get back to a place where nepotism runs this country. Where, just like the good old days, where Johnny and Johnny's dad was the CEO of X, Y, and Z. And it is Johnny's birthright to step in as CEO of X, Y, and Z. He shouldn't have to do all of this. Interview, college, and don't get me started on the fact that the white women who are rooting this on are also voting against their own best interest. Because they don't want women in positions of power either. Do you understand that DEI also includes talking about women's history? Do you, I listen, because there's some white women out there that's like, yeah, Donald Trump, do you realize that he's talking about you as well? Okay, I'm just putting it out there. Because I keep seeing white women who are like, Trump, Trump, Trump. He literally told y'all what he thought about y'all when it came out that he said he was going to grab women by their genitalia. I just want you to know that. He let it be clear what he thought about women every time he talks about his wife as though she's not standing there. He made it clear what he thinks about women when he told us that if his daughter wasn't his daughter, that he would date his daughter. So, do you understand that DEI initiatives in schools are also linked to talking about women's history? Don't shoot the messenger. Like, are we reading the room? But you want people to make reports on their own kids' schools to lose funding at their children's schools. I really hope this message hits somebody that needs to see it. Like, I really hope that somebody who's ready to make that report about DEI sees this message first. Because I'm telling you, later down the line, when your child is losing funding, and I'm speaking from someone who works in education and who has worked in education on every level. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just talking on my ass. Like, I really am not. I'm telling you that these pushes for changes come at an expense. There's no pot of money that schools get that's specifically to do black stuff. There's not. I hate to be the one to tell you, because the way that I believe that people envision it is that schools are getting money and they're like, here, take this money and use it only for the black kids. Take this money and only use it for marginalized groups. The money don't work that way. You can't legally do that in America. It doesn't work that way. So and then if we see how bad these teachers have it, and I'm speaking from watching it myself, y'all keep talking about these kids on a 3rd grade reading level. And you want to take money away from that? Y'all hate DEI enough that you want to take money away from kids who can't read or write? Do y'all understand that the 3rd grade reading level is not just about kids in elementary school? They're talking about kids all the way through high school. And whether or not we know it, teachers are talking about it more post-COVID. This problem has been persistent before COVID. Kids have not been on reading level before COVID. COVID exacerbated it for sure. These problems existed before COVID. Are you serious? and you want to take away money from schools? Who's going to teach the kids to read and write? There's a let me take it a step further. There's a shortage in the teaching profession. People do not want to be teachers, and I'm telling you that from experience. Teachers do not want to be teachers anymore because it's hard. Because being in a classroom is hard. Because standing up all day and teaching kids is hard. Because having to be a teacher, a counselor, a nurse, a therapist at all at once is hard. Because getting kids off of a third grade reading level, when you have Johnny who reads on the third grade level, Tommy reads on the first grade level, Billy reads on the fifth grade level, Johnny reads on the seventh grade level, Cynthia reads on the 10th grade level. They're all in one classroom. Teachers have to get them all on the same reading level. Do y'all understand that? Like, and you want to take away money from teachers' salaries? People already don't want to be teachers. There's a shortage. There's a shortage. Schools are struggling to find qualified teachers. That is a fact. And that is across the country. They have made articles about it. Teachers are leaving the workforce. Educators are leaving the workforce because it's hard. So when you report that DEI initiative that's happening at your kid's school, just remember that you're reporting the funding that goes to that teacher. There's going to be one less teacher in that classroom that needs 2 teachers because the kids are on 50 different reading levels. And as a teacher, if you report a DEI initiative happening at your school, you just reported your job. That's your job. That's the supplies. Y'all thought teachers was coming out of their pockets for supplies now? Y'all thought teachers was mad now because they got to go to Staples and Dollar Tree and buy all of this stuff out of that little salary they got? No more supplies from your school. All of the sped support, the little bit of sped support you get, the pull-out services, the mandated counseling, the occupational therapy, the physical therapy, the speech pathology, all of that is clipped. It's going to be like one counselor to a school, if that. Because you know what they have to have before they have any sort of additional service? Teachers. They have to have teachers first. And if they're taking money away from the pot of money that you have to successfully educate kids, they need to make sure that there's teachers in front of kids before they make sure that there's a counselor there. You know what that means? All of the kids who came back from COVID dysregulated and emotionally unstable is going to get worse. You think you see kids with firearms showing up to schools now? Imagine there being zero mental health support, social emotional learning. Imagine that. Imagine the people who are doing it. Imagine kids who need paraprofessionals not being able to have access to paraprofessionals anymore. Kids who need paraprofessionals to be in school. Do y'all know what that's going to do to the dropout rate? Like, because disabilities, paraprofessionals are a part of an IEP. That's an IEP. So no longer will paraprofessionals be available. And now how does your kid get through school? Let's say a kid has an issue with their sight and they need a paraprofessional to help them to write. How does a child who can't see and needs a paraprofessional to help them write go to school? How? If a student needs somebody to, if an accommodation is for somebody to read their test out loud for them, who's going to read the test if you get rid of the people that they need? If your child needs additional time on standardized tests, who's going to sit there with them? Okay. I don't think y'all getting it. So yes, report the DEI initiatives. Yes, and what you're going to see is too, and here's what the T is. Let me tell y'all what the real T is. If you go to that portal and you report the DEI initiative, the curriculum is going to look exactly the same but worse because you're not going to have enough people to teach it. And what you're going to realize is that y'all don't understand the definition of DEI. And so you make the report to try to stick it to black people. And then you're going to turn around and realize that nothing is really changed. The only thing that's going to change is that the school that your child attends is going to be under-resourced. Like, so realistically, because how do you define DEI? And I'm not talking about the Elon Musk and the Trump way. I'm not talking about how they think that people are DEI high. How do you actually define DEI? How do you define a DEI initiative at a school? How do you say, when you make the report, how do you actually know that what you're reporting is an initiative of DEI? All they really have to do is not call it DEI. Is y'all cool? I just want to know, because what do you mean by DEI initiative? Do you mean making sure that other kids have representation? And in their memo that they wrote, the secretary, whatever, the memo that they wrote, it said that they don't want certain groups of kids to have to feel like they have a moral responsibility, while other kids don't feel that way, which makes them feel like they're not having a good school experience. So so what you're saying is, don't talk about slavery no more, because that makes white children feel bad, and we don't want white children to feel bad, but everybody else who's not seeing themselves in the curriculum should feel bad, because that will make it equal. Make white kids feel good, make everybody else feel bad. Equality. Is that what y'all saying? And it's we're not talking about hiring practices, because the majority of the teacher workforce is white women. White women are the majority in the teaching workforce. So what DEI initiatives? What DEI initiatives? What is it? What is it? And okay, they said in colleges preferential admission. We're talking about public schools. Public schools don't have any sort of acceptance qualifications. Public schools have to accept kids. So where's the bias? Where's the bias outside of that in certain communities they're already underfunded? Where's the bias? I just can't, maybe it's not clicking, I don't know. But public schools don't get to decide who comes to go to, how people decide to go to school. And to be quite frank, they got teachers that shouldn't be teaching no more that's still sitting there. They got teachers who are completely out of whack, that are already not willing to do any of these DEI initiatives that you claim. What are the DEI initiatives? And the claim that you're getting rid of the DEI initiatives to create equity makes no sense. And listen, and let me be very clear to you. Them teachers, once there's less teachers in the classroom because you made the report about a DEI initiative at your child's school, and there's less teachers in the classroom, them teachers going to be calling you every day. Every day. Your phone is going to ring every day, because the teachers are not going to be able to manage the classrooms. The teachers are going to be overwhelmed. The teachers are going to feel like they don't have enough, which they don't. The teachers are going to be one teacher to a classroom when you have kids on 50 different reading levels. And guess who they're going to call? The same parent who made the DEI initiative report. Boom. Boom. Just like that. And you see how and the thing is, when hate clouds your mind and what you hear is black people are benefiting more than white folks, or other marginalized groups are benefiting over white folks, and you so desperately want to make other marginalized groups, you want to keep power. It's about power hoarding. You want to keep the rich richer and the poor poor. You want to make sure that your white children get more. And what the reality of it is that them people in that White House don't give a damn if you are white, black, purple, or orange. They don't want you to get richer. They want to divide by class. So them white people who are, yeah, like let's break that, whatever. Them poor white folks, they don't care about you either. They don't care about you either. So the level of hate that you're displaying for black and brown and marginalized groups is literally unwarranted. Because marginalized groups are just sitting here chilling, watching everything unfold with you. And the same way that when they take away them stamps, when them stamps stop coming in, and when them that Medicaid stopped, and you were going on and on about Trump power, okay. Them January Sixers, J6ers, whatever they calling themselves, they ain't had a reason to climb the side of the White House yet. They ain't had a reason to climb the side of the White House yet. Cause wait till they can't get their dentures. Wait until you can't use them stamps to buy you no food. Wait till you find out that child ain't gonna get no special education support no more. Okay. I'm just saying. Cause when the dentures stopped coming and you was in the backwoods chewing tobacco for 50 years, and now you ain't got no teeth, and you voted in favor of someone that said they was going to take away your medical benefits, don't come crying over here, toothy gummy. Don't come over here with them gums. Don't come over here with them gums. I'm telling you now, when you done been chewing on tobacco for 50 plus years and spitting it out on your front porch, and you knew you needed that Medicaid to take care to get you them dentures, and now they done cut you off and you ain't got no stamps, don't come over here, gummy. Don't come over here, gummy, because you didn't think. Because you didn't think. And yes, see, now y'all, because you didn't think. Okay, I don't want to hear nothing about you being hungry in the backwoods of West Virginia. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear nothing about your kid. Wait till you find out what it's really like to not have a good school system. Wait until you really find out what it feels like for your child's school to be underfunded. Wait until you feel like what it really feels. But wait until you feel what it really feels like for your child not to have no goddamn textbooks. Wait until you really understand how it feels for your child not to have access to books to get them off of the third grade reading level that they're on. Wait. Just wait. Wait till you understand what it feels like for your child not to have that additional funding for special education. Just wait. Wait until you really find out how much less they pay teachers in certain areas. Just wait. Just wait. I'm telling you. And just wait for them teachers who voted for Trump to understand what it really feels like to not make no money and what it really feels like to get to have a difficult time teaching. Wait until you feel what it feels like for those teachers in certain areas who are literally one teacher and have 35 kids in a classroom. Now you're going to feel it. Now you're going to feel it. And those racist parents, you're going to feel it too. It is all going to be a ripple effect. And you know what? And you know what? The only reason that I hate this whole thing is because kids get impacted. And one thing about it, and two things for sure, I'm always going to be an advocate for black and brown children because I'm black, obviously, and I have a black child. But I want all people to flourish. I want all people to flourish. Everybody. It's not a group of people that I don't want to flourish. I want all children to flourish. Children deserve to flourish. Everybody should get what they need. Everybody. Children with disabilities, black children, white children, everybody. And when it comes to kids, why are y'all being weird about kids? That's insane, egregious behavior. That's all I'm saying. I just wanna I just want to put it out there because I already know what's going to happen. This portal is going to open up doors that is going to create mass chaos. This DEI reporting portal for the Department of Education, the way that they rolled it out, there's been no training for teachers. There's been no training for families. There's been no training for kids. Nobody understands what DEI is. They are going to have a free for all. These people are going to get in that reporting portal and start reporting everything. And it really is going to become some sort of chaos that you don't understand. And you know what's going to happen? Schools are going to have to start closing. People are going to be struggling with the education that their child gets. It's all going to be a disaster. And you know what? It's unfortunate, and I hate that. I truly do. I hate that kids are going to have to be the people to have to experience this. I really do. I hate that. I hate that kids are the ones that have to be responsible for this or have to feel responsible for the mistakes of adults. I hate that adults don't have common sense that kids get. Because the reality of it is too is the kids are not complaining about DEI initiatives. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying the kids are not complaining about DEI initiatives. They're not. The kids don't have a problem with DEI initiatives. It's the adults. The kids are not complaining that they're learning about different people in different cultures. The kids are not the ones who are creating the hate. It's the adults. It's a learned behavior. Like it's a learned behavior. It is a learned behavior. The kids are not the ones having the problem with black culture being represented in their schools or other cultures. It's never the kids. It's the adults. The kids are not complaining. The kids are complaining because school's boring. You know why school's boring? Because schools are under-resourced. School's boring because teachers don't have what they need to be successful, including the training. That's what kids are complaining about. Kids are complaining because teachers cannot combat social media and technology, but don't get training on how to use it in the classroom. Kids are complaining because after the pandemic, studies have shown that they have about a 12-second attention span, and teachers are still trying to lecture because they don't have any other way to get to kids. It's these weird, racist, grown adults who want to continue to breed and raise racist people. That is what it comes down to. That is what it comes down to. And it's unfortunate because teachers are already getting paid nothing. Their jobs are already impossible. And now they're about to become harder. And the people who are reporting it are so racist that they won't be able to see that what they're doing actually makes no sense. So it's almost like a lose-lose because you can't teach people to not be racist. Like once they're racist, that's it. So it's like when you see a headline that says report any DEI initiatives at your child's school and you don't have education, you don't understand what DEI is, there's really not much to do here. And the teachers who are going to report it, I say report away because you have to be out your rabbit ass mind to make a report like that, knowing that that could impact your salary, your access in the classroom, how hard it is to teach kids. That any teacher that will make a report like that is out of their rabbit ass mind. They need to go back to school because you haven't done enough time in school to educate yourself to know that reporting DEI initiatives would go against your own best interest. You would be a fool because if you don't have the educational like common sense, whatever it is, like I know that schools don't teach you everything. But if you're a teacher and you don't have the common sense to research something before you do it, then you deserve it. You deserve it. Because you're a whole educator. You're an educator. It don't take nothing but for you to look it up. It doesn't. It does not. And to these school leaders that are not teaching their staff about how budgeting works, are not teaching their staff how where money comes from and how it works and how they'll be impacted. And to those school leaders who are not having these conversations and are trying to hide the budget from their staff, you're a fool too. You're insane. You're insane. Because if you're not telling your staff that would be a grave mistake and breaking it down for them, you deserve hell as well. And good luck to you trying to run a school with a skeleton of teachers. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying this is all tomfoolery, and the only people that you are impacting is the people that you need the most. From the families to the teachers to the kids. Anybody who reports it, you are literally impacting yourself. It is only going to make life harder for you. It is only going to make life harder for your kids. It is only going to make life harder for teachers. It is only going to make the education system worse. And kids are going to be reading at a kindergarten level by the time we're done. No, I didn't read it. These kids are going to be reading at a kindergarten level by the time y'all are finished reporting. Because even with all the money that's going into schools, it's still not enough. And notice how they didn't make any sort of document or portal to report fraud with the defense funding. Notice how they didn't create a portal to report fraud for the place where we're probably paying the most in taxes for wars. Notice how there's no portal. Y'all are so fixated on DEI, and this is the problem, is that the people are so fixated on racism that they're not even thinking, wait, where is most of my tax dollars going? What am I actually funding? What's actually a waste of our tax dollars? Why do they have $50 billion to give to another country to support a war? Why is Trump asking for $100 billion back in minerals from another country? Why did we have that much to give away when there's people suffering here? Why are we supporting genocide and war in other places when we have our own things going on here? You telling me that we're spending too much feeding people, but we're not spending too much giving away money for war. You're telling me it's not cost effective for people to have health care, but we have enough money to give away for people to go to war and kill each other. Something about the math is not mathing. Something about the math doesn't math. We don't have money to take care of the most vulnerable people in our country, but we have enough money to go to war, to fund a war that isn't ours. But people starve every day over here. Medicaid, food stamp fraud is less than 1% of recipients receiving food stamps. And that's too much money we're losing. But we're not losing too much money by funding genocide. Let me tell y'all something. Elon Musk ain't in there cleaning up nobody's governmental funding, nothing. He is cleaning up he is finding ways to put more money in their pockets. He didn't come out with that Tesla truck by accident right before before this presidential administration. The armies, you soon see the people in the army and all of them using them Tesla truck. I'm telling you. They're trying to find ways to put money back into their own pockets. Everything that they are going to fund everything that they're going to fund is going to put money back in their own pockets. It is all going to circle back to pay for their businesses. Hear me loud and clear. Because he's not making sure we spend less. They're not telling you, ask them how we're going to see the money. Ask them how and when. Ask. Ask the government, how and when are we going to see the money that you're allegedly saving us? Because you've already told us that we're not going to see it in the groceries. You already said that we're not going to see it in the groceries. That's already clear. Y'all ain't said nothing about rent or mortgages going down. Y'all ain't said nothing about people not starving anymore. They ain't saying nothing about getting no real money back. When are we going to see the money that they're supposedly saving us? I think never. I think never. I think never. Also, Elon Musk is not qualified to do all this auditing. This is a joke. He's not qualified to do governmental auditing. He's not. February 31st is crazy. He's not qualified. So he's not, you know what he's qualified to do? Stay rich. His qualifications are, I'm rich. I know how to keep myself rich. That is what his qualifications are. And the only reason that he's sitting in that office with them is because Donald Trump wanted him to make him his vice president, but he couldn't because the man is not a American-born citizen. It's all a scam. It's all a scam. It's all a scam, and it's disgusting. But what really does it for me is that now they're using the education system to do their dirty work. Now and now you're trying to scam people who you know, especially certain people in certain areas of the world. You're trying to use you're weaponizing the lack of education that these people have. And you know that if you can get to enough of them, because there's just more white people in America. So those folks who are in the backwoods, they just happen to be a lot of them. There just happen to be a lot of them. Yeah, I spoke about it on my page if you want to go on my page. There just happen to be a lot of them. That's what he does. And he preys on people who don't have the education or the background. But yeah, I really JD Vance is going to be nowhere to be found. That's why he has Elon Musk standing beside him every time he speaks. JD Vance is not really, JD Vance didn't really get that job. He just put him there because he couldn't give Elon Musk. He just couldn't give Elon Musk the job. He literally did that. That's what it came down to. JD Vance was just literally just a stand-in for Elon Musk because he couldn't give Elon Musk the job. We're not going to hear from JD Vance's entire presidential administration. The 4 years is over. It's over. And JD Vance knew that. He just wanted to be on a ride. We're not going to hear from him. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? They don't care. Yeah. And honestly, I'm about to hop off live, but I'm so happy because if y'all realize, there hasn't been one troll in the comment section this whole live. Not one. So something is going right. Not one troll, because usually by now we done had about 3. Not one. Praise God. Praise God. I know God heard my prayers and he said, let it stop. You know what I'm saying? Praise God. Anyway, y'all, I'm about to hop off live because I got to clean my house and I got to get ready to cook dinner and all that other stuff. I love y'all. Be safe. Don't make no reports to them DEI things in that DEI portal to the Department of Education because your kid's going to have no school, no funding, no nothing. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Right, boycott tomorrow. Tomorrow we buy nothing. Tomorrow we buy nothing. Also, I got to go to the supermarket because if we can't buy nothing tomorrow, I got a whole lot of stuff to buy now. I filled up my tank like y'all told me to earlier. I need to go to the supermarket to go buy things before me and y'all raggedy nephew get in here starving and have to kill each other. So I got to go now. Love y'all. Be safe. Boycott tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow at around 10, 11 ish. I'll see y'all then.